So thank you for joining us this evening. My name's Brett McMillian. I'm the director of the West Virginia Division of Natural Resources, and we're happy to have you guys out this evening to share your input and provide us some feedback as to what you think the direction should be at Summersville Lake State Park. I have with me this evening Commerce Secretary James Bailey, Chief of Parks Brad Reed, DNR Deputy Director Wendy Green, and we have a couple of our finest unis in brown in the back, so thank you guys for joining us. So what we'll do this evening, and why are we here? We're having our public meeting to meet the statutory requirements of Chapter 20-5-16, where when we enter into a private contract or concession contract with a third-party concessionaire, we have a public meeting to advise the general public as to what the steps are and what we're going to do with this particular area in contract. So we also thought, while we have everyone here, we can capitalize on your opinions and thoughts about what facilities and amenities should be offered. Right now, you can see by the maps, we pretty much have a clean slate. You'll notice some activity on the area that encompasses some water, sewer, and electric installation. We know we're going to need those things. From there, we've had multiple ideas thrown at us, and we're not against any. We do want to promote a strong focus towards outdoor recreation, since it is such a vital part of that particular area, realizing that the property is 177 acres. So it's not as big as some of our other traditional state parks, but it's not going to be a traditional state park. We want it to be one that's actually designed with the community, the outdoor interest in mind. So that's where we're at. That's kind of the thoughts that led us to this particular meeting. We've got a couple of stations set up, and we'll certainly give some opportunities for comments. But I do want you to memorialize your comments. If you have something that you want us to take back, that you want utilized or brought into the design phase, please write it down. Once I'm finished speaking, after the Commerce Secretary speaks, we'll assemble around the tables. We'll let you give personal comments, whatever you'd like to do, but we want to be able to take those back with us. It's not that we don't want you to speak here as a public. Free speech is what we're here about, but I want to be able to take those back, share it with the designer, share it with the entire team, because we don't even have a contract yet on this place, so we need to know everything. So don't hold back any thoughts or ideas. I see we've got a great crew of rock climbers on site, several different types of outdoor enthusiasts here, so let us know what you think. Our traditional state parks, we didn't have this option to go through and design this thing from day one. A lot of them have a unique historical, cultural quality about them that the area evolved around that. So we're going to focus on the lake and things like that here. We've got some real opportunities ahead of us. If you have or need any special accommodations as far as getting your information memorialized, please feel free to ask any of our staff here to help you. We certainly will do so. There are some refreshments in the back. We've got plenty of time. I know we started a little bit late, but we're going to hear everybody's comments. We're not going to leave until everyone's done. And with that, I'll turn it over to the Secretary and let him give you a few comments, and then we'll get right into it.
Thank you very much, Brett. Everybody, just first and foremost, thank you all for being here. The more people we have here, the better. The whole point of this is to receive input to help shape what this park will be. To reiterate some of the things Brett said, we were at the very, very early stages of this. A lot of times when just folks in general government come out and say, we want to do this, there's already a plan put together, there's design, schematics, architecture, all that stuff's already done, and the public sees it, thinks, okay, well, that's what's happening. Due to the nature of this opportunity, with the kind of the structure of which we plan to operate it under, and the kind of legal framework, we are at the very early stages. There are no designs, there are no schematics, there are no architectural renderings. The point of tonight is to get things input from you all that will help shape that. A lot of people say parks are this. This is what a park is supposed to be. I actually strongly object to that. I think what a park is a resource to a community for both outdoor recreation whatever shape or form that may be. You know, it's okay for one park to be, you know, geared more traditionally towards folks who want to go out and enjoy watch and, you know, like in a trailer or two, and it's okay for another park to be geared towards folks of other interests. So a park can look however, you know, the community wants it to look. And just, you know, what we're here today is to get input to what, you know, this is for. This will be a centerpiece park for West Virginia State Parks. It will be a jewel for not just the Summersville area, but it will be a jewel for the entire state and the region, and I believe it will end up in the country. Now, that means we're going to be attracting people from all over the region. We don't want a cookie cutter park. It's not what this, I believe this will end up being. It needs to be a reflection of the community, and it showcases in a way that appeals to people all across the spectrum. So I'll leave it at that for substantively, but to wrap it up, you know, Brett mentioned we want to get as much input as possible, and to do that efficiently and effectively, to give everybody the same level of voice. We're asking for you guys to write out your comments on these cards that are available. Please do so. If you have a specific or more detailed question, feel free to write out that question and give us your contact information, and we'll get back to you. I don't think it's right necessarily just to say that, pass out cards and move on. At the same time, I want to strike a balance between, you know, us spending all day here just, you know, people shouting out questions and then holding up everybody from filling out their thing. So what I'm thinking is I'll take just a few high-level questions from folks, if you have it, to where maybe we could answer any questions that are out there on how this process will play out or what we have in mind. And then, again, I'm going to try to, you know, we'll limit it somewhat. If you don't get a chance to ask a question now, please put it on the sheet of paper and we will get back to you as soon as possible. I mean, we need that stuff so we can, there's a record of it that way. You know, I don't want somebody to shout out something that's important and then it gets lost in the ether. I mean, we need a record of what everybody's thoughts are so that we can constructively consider and, you know, its due consideration. So at this time, I'll open up for your questions. We have a gentleman here with.
What if you have some prepared comments? I thought maybe there was going to be a public comment.
That's what the paper, the cards are for, to write out your prepared comments.
No spoken comments.
No, I think no. Our plan is to have people write out their comments and submit them to us. That way, we have a record of it that we can go back and refer to. Not everybody on our team is here currently, and also we don't have a concessionaire contract. So, you know, these are going to be things that will shape not just in the moment, but will shape the park as it moves forward through the more detailed planning stages. So we want a more record of it.
How will you be sharing the comments that you pull out tonight?
Actually, do you mean publicly?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we've thought about how we'd share publicly. We were going to share them. We were kind of going to aggregate them and share them internally amongst our team. I don't think we contemplated showing them publicly if there's.
That's not part of the public input process.
I'm not saying it can be. I'm just saying.
I think that'd be a
You know,
good
the point of
idea.
the public input is for the public to give the input to us as we shape it.
Right.
I mean, there's no reason they'd be public documents once we.
But you're building community ownership too, so I think we'd all like to hear what.
I'm going to
what
keep
we
it
all
to
have say.
question as I call upon somebody. Thank you, sir. Sir.
So that we better understand what has already been committed, what's going on with the logging, grading, drainage, et cetera, that's heavily getting worked on right now, because it seems like for nothing being set in stone.
What's going on now is water, sewage, and electricity. We know that no matter what happens at the park, we're going to need water, sewer, and electricity. That's the extent of the work being done correctly.
I, for one, would like to know what others' concerns are, so I think it's important that you do share these public concerns.
No, that's a great point, ma'am, and we'll figure out a way to do that.
Thank you.
Yeah. To the back.
I'm just curious, is there an opportunity to make comment if you're not here to that?
Yeah, anyone can, we receive public comments on a very regular basis.
Where would those be directed, sir?
You could direct them to myself, you could direct them to
You
the
can get right on
DNR.
our DNR website, and the email address is right there. It comes right into our inbox.
I get numerous public comments every single day.
Who's,
Thank you, sir.
who's currently the point person on the project? At the end of the day, like whose baby is this right now?
Are you talking about an individual?
Yeah, yeah, within either the DNR or in somewhere in the state.
I'd say it's a team effort led by the DNR.
And,
I want to, sir, you've got two, is there any more questions? Over here.
Now, I know this 175 acres is a new purchased land, it'll be state park and separate, but I seem to have read to the contrary that this private-public agreement with concessionaire could affect some of the Army Corps land, which leads to my question of the wildlife management area. Is this going to involve or affect that in any way whatsoever? That might be a question for the director.
Sure, good question. I've heard those comments also. So no, the only thing in our boundary is that 177 acres. We would not have any control over any core property, and we have no intent of messing around with the wildlife management area, pardon my phrase there, but that's actually regulated under a federal program with the funding, so we really cannot do any recreational activities or any particular construction, et cetera, on that piece of property.
Love to hear that.
Sir?
It's my understanding that state parks are routinely named after geological features or areas or perhaps historical events that took place on the property or nearby. My question is, why was the historical events at this area apparently ignored when the naming process took place?
Well, I would say not every park is named after some historical event or landmark. I can tell you personally, I myself supported the name of Summersville Lake State Park. The reason for that being is that the city of Summersville, the lake, the community here has built up Summersville Lake essentially as a brand that is known not just even regionally, but internationally. Every park, and correct me if I'm wrong, every single state park incorporates aspects of historical significance into the park, whether it be in the name, whether it be into features at the park, from anything from lodge names to trail names to whatever it may be. There's no reason this park will be any different. In fact, again, that's the part of the way this process will play out. We'll hope to get input from folks as to what is significant historically to you that would like us to be incorporated into the park.
Sir, they couldn't have considered any, in my opinion. I mean, it is...
Let me stop you right there, sir, because again, I'm going to try to control this to where everybody gets a chance to ask, constructive, high-level questions. If you have an opinion, something you want to state, please write it out in the comments.
Excuse me, but if we start at the beginning, don't we start with a name? This is the first public meeting that I've heard of, that I've been a part of. Have we had other public meetings that we could voice an opinion?
That's why we're here. Appreciate that input, sir. This is, for the record, the first public meeting that's ever been held for the creation of the state park. So I'll move on to other people with questions. Ma'am?
Could you review the timeline again and what the steps are, and what the end goal is? Will there be a management plan for this park? Are there deadlines where public input will end, and if that will be released to the public so we can all see it and review it, provide additional feedback? What are the stages?
Well, there will be, but that doesn't exist yet. The process that will play out, again, this is the first stage of it, where we will receive the initial level of input. And I'll say for the record, we will continue to receive input on a continual basis. If you think of something that you didn't think of tonight and want to submit it, please reach out, email it to us. But the same, we will go from today to discussions with potential people who would help us with the construction, the financing, the operation of the park. And from that period, then timelines would get set. You know, right now I couldn't tell you, you know, what contractor would be available during what time period, or what the, you know, the stages would even be, because we don't know yet what things are gonna be there. You know, other than, you know, typically we do expect there to be, say, you know, cabins and campgrounds and things like that that you would typically see in a state park. You know, I think this can look different, so, you know, we don't yet have a plan as to what it will be, so at some point that will be in place. Sir in the back.
Mine's a safety issue. I'm sure everybody here from Summersville area has seen the kids at park where the entrance is now, going across the 4-lane in front of all the traffic. Will you be able to put a path underneath the bridge from the state side so the kids don't have to run across to get to the swimming spots on Salmon Run?
That is a great question.
I am surprised that no kids have been hit and killed there yet.
Did you know?
I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah, the answer is yes, and that's one of the desires that we had, was to ensure that we could increase some safety there. I see it all the time too, being local, it is a challenge. So, yeah, I think if you go up now and see what we actually have on site for the state park, I believe we're already starting to see some folks utilize that upper section where we've got the swing and the state park sign going under the bridge down to that area. So it will be a huge safety consideration.
Ma'am?
Yes, is this the first state park that is shared with a private entity? And who is the private entities?
Well,
Clarify
first,
that, please.
we don't have a private entity yet. This is the first stage of eventually leading to that. It will not be the first. It'll be the first that looks exactly like it'll look, because it'll be a little different. But there are private entities that operate Stonewall, Canaan, and then other aspects within other parks, like, you know, concessionaire agreements. So it will not be completely unlike anything that we've ever done before, but it will be unique amongst itself. And I'll just state my belief: we wouldn't be able to do this without eventually finding a private partner that could help us. Sir.
Not to restate anything he said, but I met Mrs. Hughes tonight, and when we were talking, is that correct?
Ramsey.
Ramsey. So, sorry, and when we were talking, the name is confusing, because to my knowledge, the federal government is not going to give you the lake. I understand why you chose it, but to a lot of us, I think the name is confusing. And the question I had is, will there be another public meeting, or could we have another public meeting once a concession, a private entity is selected?
Potentially.
Okay.
We've contemplated that at this stage.
Thank you.
But, yeah, potentially.
Thank you.
Sir.
Did I hear you correctly that some of the infrastructure work is already ongoing, or already planned? Is that accurate?
Yes.
So something related to that. I was wondering, related to the infrastructure, since many of the questions that will be submitted will be related to many other aspects that are for the future. I was wondering if two things are being considered in particular related to infrastructure. One was the energy infrastructure, so that it becomes a model, you know, it's forward thinking in terms of energy conservation, all the other things that need to be considered moving forward in West Virginia. That's really critical. And then the second one is their consideration already, or planning already, to hire Nicholas County residents for many of the jobs, since we know that Nicholas County is hurting in a lot of ways. You know, there are many needy people in Nicholas County. So I'm wondering if there's any possibility for people from Nicholas County to get some of these jobs. They will be paying pretty well along the way. I just moved from Wisconsin to West Virginia a year ago, so I'm particularly sensitive to those two issues. So I'm just wondering if there's thought going into those two things in particular.
Well, I can't speak to the first one just because I don't think we're to that stage yet. They're building the infrastructure currently kind of into the park, and then we'll kind of build it out from there once we know exactly, you know, what we're doing and where we're going. And the second part, absolutely, you know, depending on the scale and what the park features, which again, we don't have that, it will require a number of employees, and they would be open as much to Nicholas County residents, and I would assume more so because they would be the ones in proximity. as they would be to anywhere else. We don't plan on shipping in equipment from some other, we're all West Virginians. I'll get back to you.
Sorry, no last question.
Yeah, I'm just, so anybody knows, I'm not trying to be rude. I'm just
Completely
trying to give
understand.
everybody a chance to ask one question first.
Oh, sir, Reggie, can you tell us who named this state park?
Well, I mean, I'll take all the credit or blame. It feels more blamed. But ultimately, it's named by the legislature when the bill was adopted to.
Has that been done?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
But again, I'm not shifting blame to the legislature. They passed the bill naming it as, Vice Stewart, when I say I, we as, the DNR and Department of Commerce.
So every form of outdoor recreation since COVID has been just bursting at the seams, and we don't have to look too far south to see how the cart was put before the horse with the New River Gorge and the infrastructure there. Is there any forethought or planning going on with you guys and the Army Corps of Engineers to how this is going to increase traffic on the lake that's already kind of jammed full on any busy weekend in the summer? There's no parking. People are parking on the highway, essentially.
Yes, and our goal is to alleviate them.
Well, that is.
Any more questions? Sir.
Speaking of infrastructure, which I guess is already under development, being as it's right on top of a recreational lake, sewage infrastructure, you got that covered so that even if you get an overwhelming amount of visitors?
Summersville PSD, it's actually a beautiful plan. So we do not have to have a treatment plant on site. We are close enough to utilize PSDs.
Would that be then going to the one in Attitude Creek?
I'm not familiar enough with the Summersville plan to tell you which one it goes to. I just know that the hookup was not very far away from the existing area, so we were able to tap in. I'm thinking, and you'll have to forgive me, I'm not an engineer, but there may have had to be a lift station or something put in to get to that point. But
Can you use
that's
the
the-
mic to answer the question, please?
Yes. Sorry, our room is big. So yes, no, I'm not familiar with the Summersville PSD and which plants go where. I just do know that we had a sewage line close to the existing area. That gave us the opportunity to tie in. I believe we had to do a lift station or something like that, but that's the only piece of sewage infrastructure we would have to add other than the individual lines. And then maybe, once we determine what goes where, down deeper into the area or on the backside, if we put sewage lines back there, we may have to put some pumps in to get it out. But we don't have to utilize a standard treatment plant like at a lot of our state parks.
Well, as a follow-up on that, I know that since I often paddle right by that Monotone PSD that without always the clean water coming out of it. So is there been any talk with the city of Summersville to get them reaction volume?
Yes, I believe we have made those comments, and I don't know anything about the plant there itself, but it's my understanding that the system as a whole can handle the
Hey, Brett, let me try to help this out a little
Yes.
bit.
Oh, thank you.
You're working with the city. It's going to be the city sewer system. And I don't know what plant you're referring to, sir, but our plant certainly is meeting all the regulatory standards. So if you're talking about the city of Summersville, and what might be confusing, Brett, you're calling us a PSD, and we're not really.
Okay.
It's the city of Summersville sewer system.
Right. Yep, my mistake.
Gotcha.
I'm so used to sewage plants on areas, and when I hear an opportunity to a public system, it's just always a PSD, so sorry about that.
Happy follow-up.
Sure.
Will you be putting out a bid, or will you be looking for bids on the concessionaire, or do you have a preferred vendor already?
I wouldn't say we have a preferred vendor already. I don't know if we'll do a traditional bid proposal package. We're going to go through a process of talking to things and seeing, who's in this space. It's actually a pretty small space. So.
Well, but just curious in that.
Do we have comments or questions?
Why wouldn't it be put out like an RFP to get folks to bid on, see what the people might have in mind?
I mean, RFP is a kind of a loose term. I mean, we will get a proposal. It's, when you say RFP, though, what I hear, and according to some of the years, we're going to put out a document that says, here's exactly what we want, submit to us a plan, and we're going to take the cheapest option.
So
That's
then
not
bids,
what we're doing here.
then bids, are you going to be soliciting like multiple bids?
We're going to solicit proposals. Again, I'm not,
Is that going to be publicly advertised that you can submit a proposal for this?
I'm not quite sure yet.
Are there any state rules that you know of that would sort of tell you how to go about that?
There's a governing statute that does not require us to solicit publicly bids. So we're able to do it, we're able to do it in, I guess, a more, again, this is going to be the first one, so we're able to do it in a different manner to make sure we get the best possible part.
Right.
I don't want the, again, I can only speak for myself, and I'm not the, sole decision maker. I don't want the cheapest option.
No, sure.
I don't want the most expensive option. I want the option that fits best.
Will the design be in-house with the DNR? Is that what it's?
No, whatever we do will be all external with the concessionaire.
Third-party providers, project managers?
Yeah, but we'll maintain control.
Right.
No one's going to build anything that, where we don't answer. You'll only have, I commit to, trying to actually, hopefully show that point. If you are unhappy with something, we could file agreements with Main Blade. I'm not going to give control over a state park to anybody. So, sir.
Yeah. Many parks that you visit have historical and cultural exhibits included in their museums or visitor centers. Do you know if they're going to have historical, cultural exhibits for the new state park?
I would anticipate us to, but again, that's a very detailed kind of down the road. That's the kind of thing that we're hoping to get input from folks on, such as a comment that we can take back and make sure we incorporate. But as I stated to you before, every single state park in West Virginia incorporates historical aspects into it in some way, and we don't anticipate this to be different. Yeah, this park is going to be here because of the community and how terrific the Summersville has been, not just long-term historically, but historically welcoming people, making it a place that is so attractive for visitors that it's worthy of a state park. So having a state park in your community is a huge deal, and I want everybody to understand that. This is only going to be that's 36, and some of those are glorified at best. Some of them are very small. This is going to be a crown jewel. It's something that Summersville should be proud of, and it's because of the community. It's because of the history here. It's allowed it, so we certainly will not be one. Any more questions, ma'am?
So my husband and I own several businesses in the community, and there's several other local business owners here that represent the recreation and tourism industry. Will we be given the opportunity to make a proposal on this project rather than just go straight to the big players, or are we automatically eliminating the local business owners in our community?
You're not automatically eliminating anything. Again, that's what this is for. If you have a comment, proposal, or anything, feel free, not just through this method, feel free to reach out to us.
Are there any guidelines for proposals or who you're
No,
willing
it's
to
actually one
work
of the
with?
beauties of this. We're not bound by, extremely bureaucratic, again, the traditional RFPs where we got to take the cheapest option that meets the minimum qualifications. This process helps us define what even the qualifications are, then quote it to it. So we would be very interested and very appreciative of any not just comments, but proposals from yourself or other business owners as to how we can incorporate local businesses.
Is there a timeline for a proposal of that type?
There is not. No timelines. Again, this is the very first formal action for the park. So everything kind of will fall into place following this. So I would just say as soon as, let your interest be known, send us whatever ideas or proposals you may have to tell all the other folks, to be the same. Sir.
Does the property contain shoreline, or will there be? Okay.
The Army Corps maintains a buffer zone. You kind of see that.
Yes, yeah.
They maintain a buffer zone, so
Okay.
there's no scenario here.
Cool. So every access to the lake will be across Army Corps lands?
Yeah.
Cool.
Ma'am?
Will you consider any independent contractors to facilitate the design and planning of the park? Yes, the milestone, the trails and infrastructure where it's all focused or goes in or just do that?
No, it will be an independent monitoring spread.
That was our vision actually, and if we're allowed to, and just go contract physically bid on creators and then action to those contractors.
Yeah, again, it's going to be more of a collaborative, outreach. We're going to put out a traditional RFP. We'll try to get it done. Because again, we don't know what each qualifications are to put into an RFP. We're starting from scratch, so it'll be more of a, because collaborative is not to raise it, but it's constructive conversations that we have with potential operators. And then they'll handle all the construction finance. What the statute allows us to do is to contract with a private entity for the financing, construction, and operation of the park or the facilities.
So is that all going to be one concessionaire that's doing all of that, or is it going to be?
And I can't say for sure because we don't have that in place yet. My expectation is that it would be kind of like a prime contractor with subcontractors do. I'm not aware of any entity that does everything.
But this would be the state tax dollars that are paying for that, so therefore the public would have an input on.
The public will definitely continue to have an input, but it will be, again, I can't tell you X amount of dollars or X amount. The state did buy the land, but we expect private financing to fund, if not all of it, a large push being deployed. That's the financing aspect of it. And then we would enter kind of like a revenue sharing agreement with that entity. That's how things work at our different other parks that utilize private vendors and the concessionaire agreements that we have. Even something as small as 4 stables across state first. We built a stable. We got someone to come in and they're offering, actually my kids did it the other day. If you're in that area, it's fantastic. For $10, you can ride new horses all over across state forest. And we take, I don't know what it is, a percentage of that $10. Because we provide with the facilities, but they're the ones that are providing the horses and personnel to be there to walk people around. It'll be like this. This is not a business. Yes, sir.
This may be a personal interest thing, and Mayor may know better than me, but you said that you'd hook on to public sewer. Since none of us in that whole area, and we boarded from Dairy Queen down, I understand Orange Corner, where are you going to hook on? Maybe we'll all get it.
I'm not familiar with enough to answer that question.
I would have to defer that to the superintendent. I know he's been working with them, and there's a tentative plan, and it's not even in stone yet either, but they're working.
That's pretty exciting for everybody in that whole area, from Dairy Queen on down. There's no public sewer.
You have more access that, we get, that happens from time to time. We do an extension project to other places, but that's the entire thing. I can't speak to the specifics. All right. I got one more for this guy.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, you can cut me off whenever.
All right, you're done. Tim.
Question on what you just said. The state did not buy this land?
No, the state did.
The state did buy this land?
Yeah, if I'm mistaken.
State bought the land for $4.3 million.
Which includes all the infrastructure, so the time, the infrastructure will basically die.
Yep.
And the state, the way these agreements will work, the state will own everything that's ever put on that. So even when private dollars, say, build a cabin, the state will own that cabin.
Cool.
Right, sure.
All right, I'm going to take these last two, and then we're going to let everybody move on and start writing things down. I don't want to hold everybody up, but, ma'am.
If you said there's no plan in place yet, when do you plan to have a plan? Because it seems, I don't.
Plan to have a plan when we come up with a plan. This is the first part of the planning plan. So,
I mean, I know you're doing a lot of work up there, and you said putting in utilities, but how do you put in utilities if you don't have some type of plan?
well, we know we need utilities. We know we need electric, water, sewer.
Right.
Right now, we're getting those to the site. And then, if there
To the upper
will be
left side.
more work done.
You know what I mean?
To redirect it to where those things go internally within the park. But right now, we're getting electric, water, sewer to That's the extent that they were spent here.
My question is about medical facilities. I've had 2 family members that have broken bones that had to be transported out. We have a lot of accidents because of the lake, kayaking, hiking, all the things that go on around here. Does the state intend to provide us any additional upgrade in medical facilities or transportation facilities? What's going to happen with all these other people coming in from other areas that may be inexperienced and may need urgent medical help?
And that's a great question that I'm can't speak to the Reedy area's medical facilities. What I will say, part of what you said brings up a good point that there are accidents that occur in that area. And what this will result in is having, DNRs, natural resource police officers around, more folks that are either working in the park or visiting the park and be able to provide assistance quicker and more so than has been historically. So at this time, it's all you're told.
Can I take that about the medical facility, since it is my area of expertise and I know something about healthcare?
Yeah.
So you have a critical access hospital here that is really, quite honestly, a ship and send station, but you also have 2 aeromedical service providers with HealthNet as well as AirEvac that does transport in addition to your ground ambulances. The statewide trauma system is set up to handle that. Everything from Braxton County South goes to CAMC. Everything from Braxton County North, if you are a level priority 1 or priority 2 trauma, goes to Ruby Memorial. So there is already a plan in place to take care of those patients. And if you're a smart orthopedic surgeon and you see a lot of injuries, you might want to relocate here.
All right, well, thank you all very much. Hopefully I answered as many questions as I could, which actually I'm saying get that. But if there's somebody has a question now that you didn't get a chance to ask, please write it out on the form, provide contact information, and we'll get back to you. Preferably email, we can get back to you quicker with your email. But if you don't have an email, I just want to get your phone number, we'll get back to you, I promise. If you think of something after tonight and you want to ask myself, you go to commerce.wv.gov, face and emails on there. I'll make sure somebody gets back to you, or reach out to anybody directly at the DM. This will be a continual process. As I've stated, this is the first part of the process. You can provide public input any and all times. Just reach out to us.
Where do you send that? Who do you send that to?
You can send it to myself, you can send it to anybody at DNR, if you go on our contact information on the website. Oh, thank you very much.
Where do we submit these?
Right here tonight.
Great.
So make sure, and I love the public comment side of it, but remember, if we don't have this information to take back, your voice is not going to be heard. So please give us these handwritten comments so we can share it. I know it's confusing early on in the process, but we're there too. So give us every piece of info you can. Thank you.